So I think the fact that the Caliber 89 from Patek didn't sell recently was a crying shame, considering its historical importance and considering what it represented from a sort of technical point of view. It probably, speaks more to a sale that could have been perhaps a little bit better handled. I think that there probably should have been more people in the room ready to bid, rather than it sort of petering out the way it did. But I think those sorts of sales are perhaps anomalous in the broader context, because you are talking about a huge amount of money for a pocket watch, of which I think, did they make 4 or 3?
Made 4 on a prototype.
4 on a prototype.
Yeah.
So it is. There are quite a lot of them, quote unquote, for what they are, exceptionally important pocket watches. So whilst the more general trend is, a strong market, you're always going to have hiccups and unusual things, and obviously, there is a question around pocket watches. There's still a question around.
Let's be honest, you can't strap it on your wrist and impress your friends.
No, I mean, look at the recent sale at Sotheby's for the English watches. Wasn't a strong result.
I think it's the person who collects the pocket watch is a sophisticated collector in a different way to the sophistication of a high-end wristwatch, and as you say, maybe more interested in the historical aspect to it rather than essentially, it's showing off in some ways. At the top end of collecting, it's adding prizes, bagging these things that nobody else has, which just require the deepest pockets. And maybe with newer money coming into the market, there's less of an understanding of what makes the pocket watch important as a precursor technologically to what we're wearing on our wrists.
But I think that begs the question, doesn't it? That what is driving the market? I mean, the Caliber 89's got to be, the person who's going to buy that is going to be somebody who's after the best of the best. There isn't another one. They're all in different colours. They're all individual. I think the fact that it had been known about and had been on the market, it had been at Christie's before, then it was at Sotheby's. So the whole watch was a little bit
Tainted.
Yeah, tainted. Yeah, I suppose that is kind of the word. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't something. Oh wow, it's appeared for the first time. It's great. We can finally get our hands on it, because it had been offered around. I think it had a price, but just not the price that it was set at. And I still think, and I don't know. Does anybody know whether it sold after the sale?
I don't. But what did they start the bidding at? Wasn't it like something crazy?
I think it was 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
2.5. It was. Anyway, I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it should have climbed up there. It should have been. There should have been vested interest to make it sell. But as you say, it's a pocket watch. You have it on your desk in your office or something. It's more of a work of art than it is something that.
It's not even a wearable pocket watch.
Not even.
Should you want to put on a waistcoat and use one, you're not going to use that.
No. What is it? 88 millimeters, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's very big. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the only strange thing, I guess, is my impression is from what I'm hearing that the Chinese market, the Chinese collecting market, is starting to become really quite actively interested in pocket watches, in early pocket watches. I haven't seen it personally, so I'm only talking about hearsay, but I've been told that there's a lot of growth in that sort of that early stage interest in non-wristwatches, but perhaps we haven't reached a point that it's sufficiently developed to justify that kind of acquisition.
I think the Chinese have always been very interested in the decorative watches, the enamel watches. The Asian market has always been very strong for those, even in the past, Hong Kong especially. So it doesn't surprise me that they're now moving over to earlier pieces. It's a market that should be doing a little better than it is, certainly.
But I think you have to come back to its usability, and I know people are going to buy a lot of these, very rare Pateks, very rare Rolexes and maybe not take them out that often, but when they do, they can wear them and show them off in a way that you can't quite do with a pocket watch.